Guys, if you're just coming in now, I'm reading from the book The Atlantean Conspiracy. Some notable members of the Trilateral Commission include George Bush, Dick and Lynn Cheney, Bill Clinton, Al Gore, Jim Carter, Walter Mondale, David Rockefeller, Zbigniew Brzezinski, Henry Kissinger. There's a whole list. I'm not going to read them all. There's a lot. The Federal Reserve, Chase Morgan, yada yada. Ford, Chrysler, Toyota, Boeing. Okay. Here's a quote from researcher Lori K. Strand. Many of the original members of the Trilateral Commission are now in positions of power where they are able to implement policy recommendations of the Commission, recommendations that they themselves prepared on behalf of the Commission. It is for this reason that the Commission has acquired a reputation for being the shadow government of the West. The Trilateral Commission's tentacles have reached so far in the political and economic sphere that it has been described by some as a cabal of powerful men out to control the world by creating a supranational community dominated by the multinational corporations. End quote. You are from America. Yes, I am from the United States. I live in California. Do I believe in the PTB? Chef, what is the PTB? Or, I'm sorry, Asian Cowboy, what is the PTB? Ever read this book? No, I haven't. Sasha, the Atlantean Order of Lucifer, the Eternal Religion of the Sun. No, I haven't read that book. It sounds like it's probably similar information to what I'm reading here. Oh, by Lestari. Powers that be, run the world in the shadows. Well, no, I haven't read that particularly, but it sounds pretty on point. Who writes this? Give me 1 second. Let me give you the author of this book. The author is Eric Dubay. But yeah, I do absolutely believe this is the case. There's just too many primary sources to support it. And it just makes sense. I don't believe most people in power are moral people. I think they are people who have real satanic thought of wanting to control others. And, oh, thanks, Asian Cowboy. Yeah, I really recommend the documentary Out of the Shadows if you haven't watched that. It's a great film. You actually can find it, well, last time I checked was like 2 weeks ago. You can find it online for free if you just like type it into Google or on YouTube. I just did a new video. Oh, I see. Yeah, it is very Luciferian based for sure. Okay, so here is here's a quote from Senator Barry Goldwater. David Rockefeller's newest international cabal, the Trilateral Commission, is intended to be the vehicle for multinational consolidation of the commercial and banking interests by seizing control of the political government of the United States. The Trilateral Commission represents a skillful, coordinated effort to seize control and consolidate the four centers of power: political, monetary, intellectual, and ecclesiastical. All this is to be done in the interest of creating a more peaceful, more productive world community. What the Trilateralists truly intend is the creation of a worldwide economic power superior to the political governments of the nation-states involved. They believe the abundant materialism they propose to create will overwhelm existing differences. As managers and creators of the system, they will rule the future. Oh, hi, Lena. Guys, if you're just joining the stream right now, I'm reading from the book The Atlantean Conspiracy. During the birth of the Trilateral Commission was the U.S. Carter administration, which was full of members. President Jimmy Carter, Vice President Walter Mondale were Trilateralists. Carter's Secretary of State, Defense, and Treasury, Vance Brown and Blumenthal, were all members. Carter's National Security Advisor, Zbigniew Brzezinski, co-founded the commission. And on top of that, Carter placed 26 other members into senior administrative positions. Brzezinski wrote of the commission in his book, Power and Principle, saying, quote, "Contrary to the myth, the Trilateral Commission is not a conspiracy designed to dominate the world, but genuinely strives to engage Americans, Western Europeans, and Japanese in a common endeavor to shape a more cooperative world," end quote. In the same book, he wrote, quote, "All the key foreign policy makers of the Carter administration had previously served in the Trilateral Commission," end quote. Oh, thanks, Nikunj. The next president, Ronald Reagan, was not a trilateral member, but his vice president, George Bush, was, and so were many men in his administration. After Reagan was 8 years of Bush, the trilateralist, then 8 years of Clinton, the trilateralist, both of whom appointed dozens of other members to high-level positions. Bush Jr. is not a member, but his father is, his vice president Cheney is, and he has appointed members to his cabinet. Oh, hi guys. Okay, here's a quote from David Rockefeller, 1991. "We are grateful to the Washington Post, the New York Times, Time Magazine, and other great publications whose directors have attended our meetings and respected their promises of discretion for almost 40 years. It would have been impossible for us to develop our plan for the world if we had been subject to the bright lights of publicity during those years. But the work is now much more sophisticated and prepared to march toward a world government. The supranational sovereignty of an intellectual elite and world bankers is surely preferable to the national autodetermination practiced in past centuries." End quote. Oh sure, you can have a follow back. Oh hi guys. Guys, if you're just joining right now, I'm reading from the book, The Atlantean Conspiracy. Okay, so here's a subheading, the Zionists. Zionism is a Jewish political ideology that zealously promotes the existence of Israel as their religious homeland. Since the Balfour Declaration in 1917 signed Israel over to Baron D. Rothschild, Jewish Zionists have been committing perpetual genocide against the non-Jewish, mostly Muslim native Palestinians and have all but wiped them out. Nowadays, Israel has accumulated incredible financial/political clout, and many have rightly pointed out that modern America and Great Britain act as mere satellites of Israel and Israeli policy. Do I think that they use Corona to control us? I think that they are using some of the lockdown techniques and inflating the numbers of deaths to control us. I do believe that. Guys, if you haven't looked into some of the numbers of how they're recording deaths for the coronavirus, this is how they're doing it. If anyone is said to have the coronavirus, and to be clear, the tests are so inaccurate. This is what they do. If you go in to get tested, they will test you not once, but up to like 5 times. If you keep saying like, oh, you're negative, and usually by like the 4th time, you are considered positive. Why? How do we know that that's not a false positive if the first 4 you're claiming were a false negative, you know? And here's the thing, our immune systems, when we have like any kind of disease, it could be pneumonia, it could be lung cancer, we will still get colds and flus while we have those things, okay? And our immune system usually can handle it. Oftentimes we will get flus and colds and we won't even know. Our immune system will take care of it. And the thing is that when we go to the hospital, if we've died of lung cancer, but we also had a cold, you don't put a cold on the death certificate as being the reason they died. They realize it was the lung cancer that killed them. Okay? For coronavirus, it doesn't matter if you died from a car accident, went into the ER, they couldn't save you and you died. It doesn't matter if you had lung cancer and died. If you are claimed by a test to have had COVID-19, they put that on the death certificate. So this 100,000 deaths from coronavirus is complete BS. It's not true. It's inflated. We actually don't really even know those numbers. But I do recommend looking up on YouTube Dr. Pamela Popper. Her information, if you're like, well, Kelly, you're just spouting this out of your mouth, I want to see like scientific documentation, look up Pamela Popper on YouTube. That's all the science you need to support this. But yes, I do think absolutely, especially on the left, they are trying to control the people into thinking it's this scary thing, stay in lockdown. And also if you watch the news on the right, they're owned by the same people, but they're creating division halfway through the country. You have people who are like, oh no, they don't work, like masks don't really make a difference. These are nanoparticles. They can easily travel through a mask. It's like farting through your pants, you know? It's not like you won't get the smell, you know? It's gonna happen. It just divides. It absolutely divides. Oh, you have a nice day. Are you reading a book? Yes, I have been reading The Atlantean Conspiracy. Oh, thank you, Leonardo. Oh, very nice, very nice. The Nice Sisters. Asian Cowboy say, is the goal to make the big corporates get more share and kill the small business? I believe so, because there just hasn't been enough support for the small businesses. Those are the ones that are really getting affected. All of the little people who are, you know, being let go from their jobs, they're getting government support, they're getting unemployment, you know, more dependency on the government. And who knows if there's going to be jobs for them once all this, you know, blows over. I don't know. Maybe the government will have to step in and they'll have to be working for the government. I don't know. Oh, pleased to know you. Oh, Hosty, I don't know BTS group songs. Okay, guys, keep the comments coming. Oh, very good, Yasmin. I'm just going to keep reading, but I'm going to keep checking back the comments. So please keep posting. Okay, so here's a quote from Malaysian Prime Minister Dr. Mahathir Mohamad. The Jews rule this world by proxy. They get others to fight and die for them. They have now gained control of the most powerful countries. This tiny community heave become a world power. End quote. This is from the Jewish Daily Bulletin, quote, there is only one power which really counts, the power of political pressure. We Jews are the most powerful people on earth because we have this power and we know how to apply it, end quote. The biggest banks, including the Federal Reserve, enslaving the world to debt-based currencies, are all run by Zionist Jews. Rothschilds of London and Berlin, Lazar brothers of Paris, Israel Moses Seif of Italy, Kuhn, Loeb and Company of Germany and New York, Warburg and Company of Germany, Lehman Brothers of New York, Goldman Sachs of New York, Rockefeller Brothers of New York, and many more. The biggest and most influential lobby in America is none other than the AIPAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, and the majority of Congress has been bought out by Israeli interests. The Nice Sister says, how many followers do you hope to get by this year? It's a good thought. I mean, I'd love to have like 1,000. I'd love to have 1,000 followers by this year. Yeah, I'd like to, either way though, I'm going to keep going because I think the information is like important. So even if I don't get 1,000 followers, well, I'll still, you know, keep posting, you know. Hold on guys, let me just fix my camera real quick.